So guys, what's going on? We just had the James Degale and Chris Eubank press conference. A great press conference, a fiery press conference. A press conference that had everything. First, the two fighters were going at each other saying, I'm going to beat you, I've got better skills. And there was a lot being mentioned about pedigree. Look, James Degale's pedigree is obviously there. Olympic gold medalist, a world champion, a former world champion. He's a great fighter. Chris Eubank, whenever he's got to that elite level, he's lost. So obviously there's going to be question marks raised about Chris Eubank, how good he is. There was also another interesting point that was raised in the press conference. Apparently, George Groves has been taken off the broadcast by one of the boxers who have refused to have him on. No one admitted at the press conference who it was. Chris Eubank Sr. blamed James Degale's mom, saying that his mom controls his career, his mom is in charge, and it was his mom that stopped George Groves from being on the broadcast. And Chris Eubank actually spoke very well of George Groves before this press conference, and obviously during the press conference he's been talking fairly well of George Groves. So I doubt it would be from from Chris Eubank's side, because Chris Eubank doesn't have any kind of beef with George Groves. It was just a fact rivalry that they were fighting. We know that James Degale and George Groves have deep-rooted beef, and if he has got George Groves off the broadcast, you kind of scratch your head a little bit why he would do that, because that sounds crazy, right? But I know that Degale and Groves don't like each other, so it wouldn't shock me if he has. But it would be a little petty to get someone off, because like I said, it's not like it's going to change the result of the fight. Strange if one of them have. I'd be very shocked if it was Eubank, because I don't know why Eubank would want that. Both of them clearly refused. But to me, James Degale had it look like he had a bit of a guilty look. I don't know. I don't think Eubank's side would have any problem with Groves. But moving about the fight, there was a few heated exchanges between Malignaggi saying, Chris Eubank accusing Degale of drinking, saying when was the last time you hadn't taken substance, or when was the last time you drunk? And Eubank and Degale said, well, I haven't drank for about 3 months. And that was a bit funny, because obviously there's James Degale's always been criticised about not living the life, and it seems to me like he is motivated. He has shown that he's determined and dedicated for this fight. And I think the main thing is that I think the fight comes down to levels and boxing skill and ability. A lot of people keep saying that if James Degale turns up, then Eubank doesn't really have a chance, and they're probably right. But here's the thing. Whenever I've seen James Degale fight, right, he's never outboxed anybody. When I saw, for example, Khan fight Alexander, he completely washed him. When he fought Judah, he completely washed him. If you look at throughout James Degale's career, he's never been able to wash anybody. Even the Durrell fight was a very tough fight. He faded in the latter half of the fight. You look at the Butte fight, he also faded, and the fight became quite competitive. Also, the Badou Jack fight, a lot of people thought he lost the fight and he was lucky to get a draw. And James Degale has never been able to use that boxing ability and boxing skill all throughout the fight. Eventually, the guys catch up to him and they start making it competitive and they start landing shots on him. He may be able to outbox Chris Eubank early on, but then I do think Chris Eubank will come into the fight, because if you look at all of James Degale's fights, he's never been able to keep to that boxing skill all for the 12 rounds. The guys have been able to impose themselves somewhere down the line, and I expect Eubank to do the same. However, it's just going to come down. It might be a very tight fight. It might be a fight where it's a split decision. It's a very close fight, because I think, like I said, Degale might dominate early, but Eubank might come into it late, and you won't be surprised if Eubank even gets him late. No matter what they're saying no matter what Degale's camp is saying, he looks good, he's this, that. I think Degale's coming towards the end of his career, and I think this is going to be a very competitive fight. It's going to be very close and very interesting, one that I'm going to be watching, one that I think all of you should be intrigued and watching, because it's going to be a great fight. But leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you thought of the press conference with all the issues in the press conference, and guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video.